All right. So this is how to solve inequalities or quadratic inequalities by graphing. So it's different because the first page we just graphed quadratic inequalities, and this time we want to solve them. So if you have an inequality, and the first part here shows you this quadratic is going to be less than 0. So we want to know all the values that makes this quadratic less than 0. So what you do first is you're going to graph that function, just like we would normally do. Then we're going to look, and this one here shows you parabola opening up. So where are the values less than 0? So if I look at my parabola, and I'm going to use a different color here, less than 0 would be all of these values here. So where is my parabola with negative y values? It's in that region from these 2 points here. These points, I should have made them open circle, but these are where they switched from being less than 0. This is where they're equal to 0. So the solutions would be, this is positive 1 is less than a, which is less than 5. And again, there's not going to be equal to because this is just less than 0. So because it's less than, we just use the less than symbols. This is a compound inequality showing us like our two boundary ends. So any value of a in between those 2 points would be a solution. Now, if you're looking for the function to be less than 0 and the parabola opens down, it's a little bit different. Here are the values where you have negatives. But this time it goes from here to here on your parabola, okay? Because this is where your y values are actually smaller than 0. So this is going to be an OR for values that a is less than 1. So anything smaller than 1, your parabola is going to be down here, negative y values. Or any values of a that are greater than 5, your parabola will have a negative value. It's not in between this time because this has values that are greater than 0. So a is less than 1 or a is greater than 5. And you write this compound inequality with the word or. You have a less than and a greater than to show it goes in opposite directions. Whereas this one here, you only have compound inequalities. This is one of those and ones where you have to have just less than or equal to symbols when you write your compound inequality. The bottom of the page shows you if you have your quadratic greater than 0. So if your parabola opens up and the quadratic is greater than 0, the values that are greater than 0 are these values here. These are your positive values. Where does that happen? That happens when it is less than 1 and greater than, I think it says 5 there, yeah. So your solution is now a is less than 1 or a is greater than 5 because these are the values where it's bigger than 0. The other one where it opens down, now your values that are greater than 0 fall between 1 and 5. So 1 is less than a, which is less than 5. So any value here gives you that positive y value.